Yo, what is up, y'all? My name is Rob Donaldson, and welcome back to another edition of Rob's Best Bets. And in this episode, we are once again talking about college hoops here on this fine Thursday. And on Wednesday, we unfortunately fell into the red, and part of that was because we took a stab at Richmond's money line, and we also lost a couple futures on Vanderbilt and Ohio State, and also UTEP, but hey, that's the nature of playing long shot futures in that market. But hey, I am so excited to talk about these Thursday bets. I really do think that this slate in particular could really lead to a lot of profit. And with that all being said, before we jump into the picks, I do want to take a second to shout out today's sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. And if you haven't already signed up using promo code ROBDFB, I highly recommend it. And on Thursday, we're actually going to have a slip of our Underdog Pick'ems, and I highly recommend you guys tail along. It's going to be on my Twitter/X page at RobDFB. But with all that being said, y'all, I am so excited to jump into these Thursday picks. All right, first up, we are heading out to the MAAC tournament where we have Bowling Green taking on Akron, and we're looking at this matchup here. Bowling Green is a team that has been very disappointing this season. They have fallen short of a lot of expectations, and Akron on the other side under John Gross have actually exceeded a lot of expectations, and I do think this number is justified, and I am so willing to lay it in this spot. So let's go ahead and lay the 11.5 points here with the Zips for 3 units for our first bet here on Thursday. For pick number 2, we are heading out to the Big 12 tournament where we have Iowa State taking on BYU. And the last time these two teams faced each other, it was in Ames, and BYU got the best of Iowa State in triple OT. And we're looking at this matchup here. I do think that Iowa State is a lot healthier now than they were then. And I also think that Iowa State is actually kind of on a warpath of sorts to win this Big 12 tournament. And they're laying a short number here of 2.5. I feel like it's totally justified, and I am totally willing to lay this big bet here on the Iowa State Cyclones. So let's go ahead and do it for 5 units for our second bet here on Thursday. For pick number 3, we're heading on back to the MAAC where we have Ohio taking on Toledo, and we're looking at this matchup here. Toledo has kind of been a shell of themselves based on how they performed over the past 10 years in this conference. And I do kind of feel like it's just one of those down years that a good program has once in a while. And on the other side, Ohio was kind of trending in that direction. But at the same time, over the back end of the season, they have been playing a lot better basketball. And for that reason, I am totally willing to lay the 2.5 points here with the Ohio Bobcats for 2 units for our third bet here on Thursday. For pick number 4, we are heading out to the ACC tournament where we have North Carolina taking on Wake Forest. And in this matchup, I think it's very, very interesting because North Carolina and Wake Forest are very, very similar teams in the sense that they've fallen so short of expectations this season. There are also 2 teams that have centered themselves in the state of North Carolina, and this tournament is also in North Carolina. And we're looking at this matchup here. I do think that Wake Forest is actually the more talented team, and they're catching 5.5 points. I totally get it. North Carolina might be on a collision course to match up again with Duke in the semifinals, but I'm not willing to crown them just yet. I do think Wake Forest ends up actually winning this game, but at the very least, I also think that they cover, and for that reason, I say we go ahead and take the 5.5 points here for 4 units for our fourth bet here on Thursday. For pick number 5, we are heading out to the MAAC tournament where we have Manhattan taking on Iona. And we're looking at this matchup here. We actually do have a future on Iona to win this conference tournament. And I place that future in part because this team plays really, really balanced, and not the entire season. If you look at the analytics, they're going to really show as a heavy defensive team and an offense that really doesn't produce a lot at all. But during the back half of the season, this offense has really stepped up, and I really do think that the defense in this matchup is going to prove to be the difference. And we're looking at this line here of Iona catching 1.5 points. I feel like that's egregious because I think Iona should actually be the favorite in this matchup. So let's go ahead and take the 1.5 points here for 2 units for our 5th bet here on Thursday. For pick number 6, we're heading out to the A10, where we have a matchup between LaSalle and St. Joe's. And less than a week ago, we saw LaSalle actually take down St. Joe's as a double-digit favorite. But in this matchup here, I do think that LaSalle ends up kind of getting revenge and also laying the hammer down. And I really do think that St. Joe's in this matchup is actually going to use this as a springboard to win the conference tournament. This is my hot take. I really do think that VCU is a very fantastic team, but if any team can come from the bottom side of the bracket, I do think that it is St. Joe's, and they're laying 10.5 here. I say we lay it for 4 units for our 6th bet here on Thursday. For pick number 7, we're heading out to the Big Ten tournament where we have USC taking on Purdue. And in this matchup here, USC actually pulled off an incredible comeback against Rutgers in double OT. And I say comeback even though USC was leading for most of the game because Rutgers did have them dead to the rights in regulation. And we're looking at this matchup here. I do think that Purdue is kind of one of those more overrated teams in terms of teams that are catching a single or a double bye in their conference tournament. And for that reason, I say we go ahead and take those 9.5 points here for 2 units for our 7th bet here on Thursday. For pick number 8, we're heading out to the CUSA where we have a really fun game between Louisiana Tech and Middle Tennessee State. And we do have a future on Middle Tennessee State in this conference, but when you look at this matchup here, I really do think that Middle Tennessee State has a distinctive edge, specifically at the guard spot. And I know that Daniel Bacho is down low and he might cause problems, but in this game, I really do think that Middle Tennessee State should be favored by more than just kind of a pick'em angle. And for that reason, I say we go ahead and lay, or I guess pick them on the money line for 3 units for our 8th bet here on Thursday. All right, for our final bet here on Thursday, we're heading out to the Big East tournament where we have a game between Villanova and UConn. And you guys know how much I love this Villanova squad. We have a future on them as well in this conference tournament. And I do think that they end up running the table, securing the auto bid. And in this matchup here, they're catching 4.5 points against a UConn team that I kind of feel like is a shell of their former self. And for that reason, I say we go ahead and take all of those points for 4 units for our final bet here on Thursday. All that being said, I really want to thank you guys for checking out today's video. And if you do want to show some love, make sure you drop a like on the video and make sure you subscribe to the channel. And I may or may not have some other bets in these conference tournaments, but there aren't any lines up for any other games that I do want to bet on. So be sure you are plugged in on my Twitter/X page at RobDFB, and also be plugged in on the comment section on YouTube here, because I will place it on both of those if I do have any extra bets. But with all that being said, y'all, I appreciate you guys, and as always, I will see you in a future video. Take it easy.